Might as well get comfortable here. All right.
All right.
Here we go. And
3, 2, 1. We on.
hey guys, how are you? I'm Eric.
And I'm Dan.
Welcome to our show.
Chasing Shadows.
Tonight's a little bit different. We're doing an introduction to our show because we're still trying to figure out just exactly how we can broadcast live with the bandwidth band that we have.
Bandwidth.
Yeah, in this town. It's just, it's kind of really slow. So we might have to do it differently. We might record this, put it out there for you guys, see what you guys think, and then maybe do a live session and see what kind of questions you have and how we can possibly make this work.
We'll figure something out.
So basically what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of give our little introductions here, and for all of you who don't know us, it gives us a chance to let us know what we're all about. I guess I'll go first.
Go for it.
All right. My family has always been very much into the paranormal because of the homes that they had. My grandmother's house on Berry Street in Torrington, Connecticut was extremely active. This happened majorly, I can't talk tonight, around the use of a Ouija board from my aunt and my cousin. After that, all kinds of stuff broke loose in the house and became very, very active, from doors opening by themselves to phantom footsteps to doors unlocking. My grandmother was pushed down the stairs. Even people feeling like they've been brushed, like with their face, and all kinds of stuff. There's so many stories I can go into. If you do go on to Supernatural Inc. Facebook page, there is a link where there were some stories, and one of my stories was posted there. Growing up, I always thought that it was just our family. My grandparents always said, don't tell people because we don't want them to think we're crazy.
The old stigma.
Yeah. But as I started getting older and going into school and starting to read books, I realized that we weren't the only ones, that there were people out there that had experiences just like ours, and all of a sudden you don't feel so frightened anymore because you realize you're not going through it alone. So that was probably around when I was about 8 or 9 or so, when like I said, once I got into high school and school, I started reading the books. So around 15, 16, I started thinking about what it would be like to actually go on an investigation or a ghost hunt. Fast forward a few more years, about 20 years of age, 18 to 20 years of age is when I started. We did the typical go into cemeteries at night, which is trespassing, and do all kinds of recordings and photographs, and we got a lot of stuff, a lot of EVPs, but we're so frightened of them because we just didn't have any clue of what we actually got. I did a lot of research, a lot of Hans Holzer books, a lot of paranormal researching through. Fate magazine was another one we used to go through, and I used to learn all about that. To unfortunately contacting some ghost hunters from Connecticut that didn't turn out so well for us. We ended up having some stuff taken from us, and anyway, I learned a very valuable lesson then. Don't always trust everybody. Make sure that you know who you're dealing with, no matter how famous they are. Make sure that they're really reputable. With that being said,
I think you gave a big hint to who you might have been dealing with there.
Yeah, I can't really say the name, but
I know.
I'll let it go at that. But
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. So it was kind of sad because it really made me feel bad about them because I looked at them as heroes. But anyway, so fast forward now to 2000, 2001, when the ghost stuff started to, come out and started to show all these Halloween specials, where you would see the Haunted America and stuff. And then fast forward a little bit more, and all of a sudden you have the ghost hunters on. And in 2007, we decided we really wanted to start a group. So my wife came up with the name of Supernatural Inc. I'm like, that's fantastic. And I says, let's get a group together. So we got some friends. We started out with a really big number of people at first. You know, we kept, come on, join. And some things just didn't work out. Some people left. Some people got into their own businesses. So we started to trickle down, and we have basically 6 members now. There's Melissa, myself, Dan and his sister. There is Chuck and Tabitha Kaczynski, and we do have, well, there's another one. I forgot, Justin. He's been extremely busy lately, but he does some field stuff, and he said he would be very much into doing some stuff during the day on some of his hikes, looking into stuff. So that's about it. We trimmed down quite a bit, and just want to see if we can find the truth behind all this. And I gotta say, we did okay. Hold on one second, people.
What was that all about?
It wants to update.
Gotcha.
All right, so we'll cut that out. So with that being said, we have our own group. I've known Dan's family forever. His father and his aunts used to babysit me and my brother. And I actually met him through Laura at work. And they've been on ever since, and it's been fantastic. So my story is, don't ever be afraid to tell your story or feel that you can't share it, especially if you're going into people's homes and investigating. That bullcrap about, oh, my story's too personal. Well, you're going into people's homes. There's nothing more personal than being in their personal space and going through each room. So, you know, I never got that with some of these television shows. They just, oh, I don't want to say my story, it's too personal. And that's bull.
I'll tell you too now, though, with the internet, it just, so much more is out there than used to be in the past too. So
absolutely,
people don't have to worry about, you know, am I going to sound crazy? People have their stories all over the place. So there really isn't the same stigma there used to be.
No, and I mean, there's so many other things coming out, like with, you were mentioning all these parallel universe theories and stuff, and Mandela effect, and all these things that are coming about now. You know, are they true? You know, scientists have already, I think they've already proven that there are such things as other universes going on. Well, parallel universe, or is it more of a theory?
They have theories. And mainstream science definitely, they're not going to discount that there's a high probability of that. It's hard to say that, yes, there's definitive proof. I don't think we can say that for a lot of things. But mainstream science definitely have theories in place that a multiverse type theory is what's going on.
I think it's amazing, and why can't it? You know, I mean... Mm-hmm. For the longest time, people always thought reflections were, you know, inside of a mirror, or actually another dimension or another vortex. And sometimes that can be, you know, that can be a lot of the energy around a haunting, because it's going to collect energy over the years. You know, that's the same with any antique, basically, you know. And how do we know that, you know, in the parallel universe, we're not the ghosts, you know?
Exactly.
So,
in fact, that's one of my little theories that going through our investigations I've talked about quite frequently, is that if you don't want to buy into, you know, spirits, you know, EVPs could be picking up voices from a you know, another dimension that's in this multiverse, and, you know, on their end, they could be hearing our voices.
That's right. That's right.
There's a lot of different theories out there.
Well, you know, that somebody once asked me too, when you do an EVP, how do you know you're not just picking up a radio, you know, reception and stuff? And like I said to him, I said, well, the areas that we mostly pick up EVPs from, and I did have to throw out a couple of them once because we were working at a place called Cheyenne's. And Cheyenne's was right before you guys came on board. It was one of the last investigations with some of our former members. But we were down in this coffee shop, and things were really, really high energy in there. And I don't mean necessarily paranormal energy. I'm just saying that there was coolers and all kinds of stuff giving off. There was air conditioners going on. It was so loud and so industrial that it was so hard to pick up EVPs. And all of a sudden we started to hear like these voices that were coming from the back in the kitchen, what they thought was. But what it was is there was a radio station, literally, was it the local station here in Torrington?
APJ?
Yeah. The one right on Water Street. What
Yep.
happened was it was such a strong signal, it was still coming through the speakers inside of the, so we had to debunk that. I said, no,
Absolutely.
that's that. So I do know radio signals and all that stuff, and that was always a question that somebody brings up, but yes, it is possible. Absolutely. It is possible.
I tell you what, though, and I may be a little biased here, but we've got a few pieces of evidence that I feel really strongly about.
Yeah, the
using-
ambulance. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, we'll go more in depth into that another time.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
This is a pretty good one. I think everyone would be really interested in that. We had 3 different pieces of equipment corroborating each other,
Yeah,
and
with an EVP.
with an EVP. Yeah.
So I mean, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
actually.
it was, and like I said, we'll go into depth on that another time. So here's a little teaser for that right now. But,
Well, before we get too far, Dan, what's kind of your story behind all this?
that's pretty boring, but paranormal stuff has just been part of my life as far back as I can remember. My house growing up, encountered strange things that happened on a daily basis. I'll just go over a couple of the things that used to happen more frequently than others. Being home, either alone or maybe with my brother in the house, and the sun would go down, so we would go around and close all the blinds, walk into another room, come back, the blinds would be open again. That was probably the one thing that happened frequently. Another big thing was a lot of times the piano could be heard playing at different times, especially during the middle of the night when no one was there on the piano. Different, voices being heard. One time I was home with my brother, and I was laying on the couch in one of the living rooms. My brother was laying on the couch in the other living room, and I saw someone run through the hallway, through the kitchen and dining room, and then up the stairs, stomping their feet. So not only did I see him run up the stairs, but I heard it very clearly. Now, I just assumed this is my brother. We're the only 2 people home. We were both kind of half asleep. A few minutes go by, I decide I'm going to go upstairs and just see what's going on. So I tiptoe upstairs real quietly, and I'm expecting my brother to jump out. And, back then we used to love to, play fight, really beat the hell out of each other. And I was expecting to see him jump out, and he's nowhere to be seen. So I go, that's weird. Go back downstairs. I go where he is, and he's laying down on the couch half asleep. So I ask him, you didn't just happen to run upstairs, did you? He's like, no. I'm like, did you hear someone run upstairs? He's like, yeah, that wasn't you? So that was kind of interesting. Now, is there a chance that someone was in the house, ran up the stairs, and then, jumped out a window or something? Sure, there's that possibility, but I have no clue where they came from then. So,
I know. It's weird because even the house that we have now, that me and my wife are taking over, I grew up there, and before that it was my father's friend's house. And so he's known the history of the house, as far as, since he was alive. Before that, it was one of the first farmhouses on Spring Street, and there was a little caretaker's house down the road. So, fast forward, there were some people that moved in. I don't know if I should say their name because you got to be so careful today, but we'll call them
the Smiths.
Mr. and Mrs. K.
Okay, that's better.
All right, so Mr. and Mrs. K moved in the house, and they had, a son. And he became very good friends with my father. And my father was over there through summers and all the time, just best friends. So after the father died, and I will say his name, his first name was Herb, and his wife's name was Sarah. Herb actually died from a heart attack in our living room. Well, it was his living room then, while I was reading a newspaper. and Sarah died shortly after that. So we always had activity in the house, and we always just chalked it up to Herb and Sarah. Since then, my father passed away back in '96, and I know he's still there because there's times I'm looking for something when I'm trying to fix the house or trying to do something around the house, and Dad, where'd you put this thing? And I have no idea where it is, and all of a sudden I find it, and it's not where I normally would look for stuff. So I mean, that, you know, things happen. Now, is that possibly me imagining it and maybe I saw it? Sure, it could be that too. But there are things in the house that I can't explain. We've had voices, we've had objects move.
Yeah, that's another big one too.
Yeah, so
I didn't mention.
My kids have seen my father there. You know, they catch glimpses of him walking past their room, or my daughter actually saw my father on the side porch looking in the door. Lindsay, a shout out to my daughter Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay. And yeah, it scared the hell out of her. And we, you know, they know that he's not going to hurt them. They love him, and you know, he loves them, even though they never met. They know that they got an angel between him and my first daughter Lauren looking over him, so we know we're safe. But just sometimes things do startle you, you know. I mean, even to this day, I mean, there are things that sometimes we're on investigation and you do feel the hair on the back of your neck standing up. But we're not really ones to jump much, but sometimes you go, man, you feel that, and you can acknowledge it with each other. So so we're very much like you guys. We have our own stories. We have our own experiences.
And we'd love to hear anyone else's stories in the comments too.
Absolutely.
Any kind of paranormal story you guys got, definitely. We'll certainly do our best to respond to any questions as well.
Absolutely. And that's the thing what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this a live show where we'll be able to actually take live questions from you guys and actually post them. Just right now we're having, you know, technical difficulties with, you know, the bandwidth and everything else going on. If there is anybody out there, I know that my buddy Eric Perry's going to probably watch this, and he'll certainly comment. Hi, Eric. And I know Diana will, and the Fearless Ghost Hunters, and everybody else out there, and thank you very much. If there's anybody who does know things about tech that can help us out, you know, we're learning, we're trying to figure it out.
I'm pretty tech illiterate.
Yeah, me too. You know, just feel free to either notify Dan or me, or even just when this page is loaded up, just do that. I'm not on Facebook as much as I used to be, so for all of you that know me, you got my number. Just shoot me a text, and I will get back to you, or if you call me, just leave a message and I'll get back to you, because we really want this to work out. This is something we've been talking about for over a year. Yep. And finally me and Dan just looked at each other like, well, we're never going to know if we don't try, so let's get the stuff and try it. So you know, and we'd be more than happy to, you know, share our, you know, what kind of equipment we got with you guys. If you guys want to start a page, there's no secrets. It doesn't have to cost $1 million, that's for sure, because we certainly don't have that.
Nope.
You know, for like $150, you can pretty much get everything you need, you know, with the exception of a computer. So as long as you have a computer that works and operates, for $150 you got everything. That includes these mics, the camera, and sound mixer board, and everything else. So it's very doable. You know, and we're hoping it's going to be a lot of fun. We watch a lot of podcasts on YouTube and whatnot, and I love the idea that you can have an intimate setting with some friends, you know, and that you guys can talk about everything or anything, you know, which leads me to another sector, Bigfoot. How do you feel about Bigfoot, man?
Well, the thing about Bigfoot is I can go either way on it. Let's just assume for this that there really is some creature out there that exists, that people have seen, and it's known by Bigfoot, you know, Sasquatch, the Yeti, or whatnot. My feeling is we're talking about a creature that works in a multi-dimensional sense. That might sound confusing to people, but think of us living on a, you know, three-dimensional plane, excuse me. Now picture a piece of paper and someone living on that in a two-dimensional frame, we can perceive them just fine, but they're not going to be able to perceive us in 3 dimensions. I kind of feel that these Bigfoot creatures can operate in a couple different dimensions. When they're in the 3rd dimension, we can see them, but when they hop back into their primary dimension, we can't see them. It would explain why, one hasn't been caught, or, the body hasn't been found. I feel that if these are real, then they're able to operate in multiple dimensions. So that's kind of my little thought on that.
I always thought very much that it's just some kind of mountain gorilla that somehow started standing up straight because maybe it couldn't reach fruit anymore and it needed to get more upright. I look at it this way. Out of all the continents in the world, why are we the only ones that don't have a gorilla? Right? I mean, think about that a second. Why is it? I mean, if all these continents were originally joined together at one time, I mean, why would they only settle in one area? I mean, our climate would be the same as it would be over in the west or the east or whatever. I mean, why is it that we're the only place in the world that doesn't have gorilla? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that to me, it's a gorilla of some sort. Big, I mean, a gorilla's not small anyway. If you were standing next to a gorilla, it's hunched over, but it's going to be still taller than you. And now if you straighten that thing out, it's going to be 7-8 feet tall. So
that being said, too, I do think that a lot of times people could be seeing a bear.
A bear stands upright. Absolutely.
I don't care how close you are in a dense wooded area.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to make out what you're seeing with 100% accuracy.
You're going to see a dark shadow. It could be anything, really.
Another thing being said is, I don't remember the time scale, but thousands of years ago, there was a upright walking gorilla,
giant picnic.
It's Australopithecus, I think it's called, something along those lines.
Yep.
But I've heard that talked about before on other shows, so that's another thing. This thing did live many years ago. Did a small pocket survive? It's possible.
I know that the Native Americans also believed it was a form of a god. It was also a god or like a sentinel, something that was guarding sacred ground. And why can't that be possible too? I mean, listen,
anything is possible.
We chase shadows, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we do.
I mean, why couldn't that be possible? But well, going into the other dimensions and stuff, why don't we kind of give a little teaser now about UFOs and stuff? So
that could kind of work on that same principle.
Sure, I've heard of that before too. Yeah, that it could be an alien from outer space, or
doesn't even have to be an alien.
That's true.
I mean,
that's
yes, that is one thought. Another thought, they could be occupying the same space we're occupying in a different dimension.
Yep.
And sometimes those dimensions, they can kind of
shift.
Shift, or you get a small window where they, kind of not connect but kind of cross each other's paths, and that's when you get a vision or visual of it.
Well, I think
that's a whole show by itself.
I mean, each one of these could basically be its own show. I think you think about what they're finding out every day, about space and whatnot, and just being
you mean that it's not real according to the flat earthers?
Yeah, but
I'm not even going to get into that.
I like that thing. Yeah, but they're being very famous around the world,
around the globe.
Around the globe. But yeah, all right, let's just say that I'm a devil's advocate for a second. Now I say, there's no such thing as aliens or this or that. Okay, let's just say I say that, which I don't. I believe that there absolutely are other life forms. Why would we be the only planet in all these galaxies that have life? That's idiotic.
That's arrogant.
Yeah. So here's my theory. Let's just say that they're not from outer space. How do we know that they're not from the future, trying to go back through time to figure out where we made such a terrible mistake, where they ended up? Maybe
we obviously haven't fixed it yet.
Right. And but I'm saying is, maybe that's what's with all the probing, and maybe that's with all the, whatever.
Probing.
Yeah, probing. Oof. Yeah. But even if that's all BS, there are people that they found with these things under their skin, wasn't there?
Oh,
something?
the implants you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, where the hell did those come from then if it's not? You know what I mean? I mean, it could be the government, which leads us to other conspiracies.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they aren't after you.
That's true. Hi, Hillary. Oh, no. Don't like that, bro. Anyway, all I gotta say is there's so many different topics we could pick. We're not gonna get too political, but there are conspiracies that do have to be based around that, which could be talked about. But we're just trying to figure this out, guys. So I mean,
and open to suggestion too.
We are completely open to suggestions, and you know, I guess within closing, is there any parting words you want to say?
Not really. I think we pretty much touched all the minor things we wanted to, without really going into a lot of details on things. But again, I'd rather, save the specifics for when we really get going with our quote-unquote actual show.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is a nice little teaser to start out with.
Yeah, now listen, guys, we really need your help because we're trying to figure this out. So please, if this is on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us. We're trying to figure this out, and we're open to suggestions. Just two normal guys that are trying to figure out what's going on in the parallel universe.
Yeah. The YouTube page is under Chasing Shadows 2018. So it might be kind of hard to find since we're just starting right now.
But we can put a link on the page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll put a link, and then if you guys log in, give us a like, thumbs up. Feel free to tell us what you think or give us some ideas for our next show. If there's any tech support out there, and if you guys just would rather, instead of getting a hold of me or Dan, and you want to put it on the YouTube channel as well as a comment, that would be great. We will be checking them. For anybody who's on Facebook, like this, share this, let us know what we can do.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be posting this to my Facebook page.
Yeah, we're going to be trying to do some, Dan I think is thinking about possibly doing a spin-off from this, so he will be doing some stuff too. I guess we were talking about you might do
some, maybe some Facebook Lives where I can take actual questions in real time, or suggestions. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of and willing to engage. So
absolutely,
any thoughts, questions, just shoot me a comment, send me a message.
And I'll tell you, it's this, if this works out well, if we can figure out Facebook, this might get me back on it more. If not, you can still contact me through it. I still get messages. I may not get back to you right away because things have been going crazy for me lately, but not necessarily in a bad way. I want to thank everybody for prayers that have been helping come in for a family member. They're doing much better. Thank you very much for that, for the kind prayers and thoughts. Also, for all of our followers for Supernatural Inc., we're also going to be updating our website as well,
and check out the Facebook page.
And the Facebook page, we're still checking in and out of that. My wife is on Facebook all the time, so feel free to get a hold of Melissa Good. If you can't get a hold of me or get a hold of Dan, they will get to us. Our phone number also changed on Supernatural Inc.'s page for Facebook, and I want you guys to take a note. It'll be my personal number. You can call me. Just leave a message. It's 860-733-5620 for all the people that are in Connecticut. If there are people from other states and you need help, I will do everything I can to see if we can link you up with a group that's closer to you. But, that's the other reason why we have this show, because maybe you don't need us to come to your house, but you have questions, and maybe we can answer those once we get this thing actually up and running live. So for now, I apologize that we're not live at this point, but
it's a work in progress.
Yeah, but if you leave us comments either on our page or on this page, we will get back to you. And thank you guys very much. God bless. Thanks for sticking in there with us, and thanks for hanging out with us while we're trying to figure this out.
And we will see you soon.
Peace out and happy hunting.